Greetings, family. This is Yuya Assaan-ANU here again with another session of Foundational Fridays on the Enlightenment Transformation Experience. As always, I'm excited to be here with you and to share and chop up this information for those who are listening and coming from archives, and even those who are listening now live. This show we're going to be talking about spiritual healing. Spiritual healing. It's kind of a first step that we often ignore when we start getting into our studying. We usually ignore, like, are we even ready to become scholars? Are we qualified based on where we are currently, emotionally and spiritually? In the background, I have to just, give acknowledgement. I have the United 8 playing, and this is a song by the name of Getting Uptown to Get Down. And because some people had sent in emails after the session that I had did when I had expressed that I come from a musical family. And this is actually a song that came out on Atlantic Records back in 1972 that was done by my father and my uncle. And, it's one of those rare grooves you can find online. And it was another cut they did. I'll probably play it later. But this was a cut I always liked, as a kid listening to. But, and I guess it's kind of apt when we're talking about spiritual healing, because a lot of times when you go into a place for healing or therapy, the first thing they ask about is your history, whether it be your psychological history or your emotional history. So it kind of made me think about some things in my own history, preparing my thoughts for chopping it up with you guys today, and thinking about some things in my childhood. And I just started imagining my own parents at this time, and I'm listening to the music and kind of just putting myself in my father's place, or even in my uncle's place, who's playing the bass, and bass is my main instrument. And I just remember seeing pictures of my father in this group back then, and the clothes, and it was a real charismatic time. Stage performers had a lot of charisma, and they showed it in their dress. My father with his Apple Jacks and his knee-high boots, and there's a picture in my grandmother's house of the group. He's got on these knee-high Hercules boots with an Apple Jack, and a goatee. But that was the thing. I mean, some people dress like that today, and I was just kind of picturing my mother. I have some old pictures of my mother. She's the model. So, she thought she was all that. And I'm sure he thought he was all that. You got to kind of feel like that to put on Hercules boots. But what's interesting, you just kind of look back. This is probably a time, man, I could see just the whole vibe, man, and, how he probably approached my mother and everything. The music was probably playing. He might have jumped off a stage and stuff, and then, like, I don't know, whatever. Hey, mama, hey, I just wanna groove with you for a little while. Let's. I'm just asking for a dance, mama. I just want one dance, mama. Come on, let's groove now. That's how they talk back then, man. That's probably like she swooned. She probably, damn near fainted when he said that, because that was like how the players talk, man. Back then, and he probably had on like a because back then, like, the players, they wore neckerchiefs. They don't really, they call them ascots now, man, but back then it was neckerchiefs, man. And, if you was really a player, you wore the knot to the side, like to the left. I think left was probably for heterosexual and right was for homosexual or something. But, you'd rock your neckerchief, man, and, you throw it to the side, and you'd have your bell bottoms and your shades, and, you'd ask her for a dance and everything, man. And that's probably how he pulled my mom's, man, because he had a neckerchief to the side. And, the only thing about them, because I don't think back then hickeys was invented yet. I know they wasn't invented, because the neckerchief, the knot would be so tight that they'd have to cut themselves out the neckerchief. So you wouldn't really have time to do that till later. I'm thinking that's probably why, when I think about it, that's probably why he really got into my mother, because my mother's a petite woman, and she probably, her little hands, she's good with her hands, like crafts and stuff. She probably was able to untie his neckerchief you know, and that was probably something that really impressed him. You know, I could hear with my uncle now, like, you know, like, yeah, man, it's this mama, this foxy mama untied. Cause, you know, every time I go out there with Brenda, man, Brenda got to cut it off with a switchblade. Whenever she want to take off the neckerchief, I just tell her, just leave it on, man. I just sleep in the neckerchief. But, man, this sister, man, she untied the neckerchief and then put it back on and put the knot to the side, man. So, you know, she's the one. And, you know, next thing you know, here I come. Well, yeah, anyway, let me stop playing. You know, I just had to put that out there because my father does listen to the show, and sometimes my mother tunes in too. But I'm sure they didn't. Well, they might have met, like, they probably did. You know what I mean? Back in the days, they were young. You know, it's probably some stuff like that. He doing backflips off the stage and stuff, and she coming up on the Soul Train line doing funky chicken or something. You know. You always got to make it so that it's all romantic and stuff. It might have just been just like that, man. He had a fly neckerchief, you know, that matched his shoelaces or something, you know. But anyway, over the peacocking, you know. But, yeah, I wanted to start actually by, with the letter that I got, from one of the listeners. And, I'm going to call him C for now. Okay. I don't really want to reveal his name, but I'm going to read it and then I'm going to speak on how it ties into what we've been dealing with, recently, just with symbols and you know, music as well. Just harmony, more importantly. And I'm going to read it. Hello, Brother Yuya. It has been a while. How are you? I've been listening to the Foundation Fridays loyally. I have gone through many changes in my life since we last spoke. These changes has helped me to grow stronger and a bit wiser. I have also undergone a sort of cleansing of my soul. I thank you for the advice you gave me in my difficult period. I wanted to ask you your opinion on a symbol that I've been seeing in visions lately about two crossed keys with the handle facing up. I've been researching its meaning and found that in some cases it symbolizes Saint Peter, but that can't be the only meaning. If you can help shed some light on this, I will gratefully appreciate it. Thanks again. Peace and blessings. Okay. Now, and this brother, we had spoken some time ago. He's been listening for a while now, and he went through a marital situation where there was some infidelity on his wife's part, and he was informed through various means, and it finally hit home, and you know, he confronted her about it, and she admitted to it. And of course, you know, that's a hurting thing, especially because of who she engaged in the extramarital affair with. Okay, it was someone that was, we could say, that was really in the family. All right. So he and I, you know, had discussed it, and prior to even him confronting her, and post confrontation, and so, you know, he's going through. This is his trial, you know, and we all go through our trials, especially those of us who are picked to do great spiritual work. You have to go through a trial. There's no way around it. You know, if you think that it's a life of bliss and harmony, once you come into your consciousness, then you're wrong. You're not even, you haven't even scratched the surface of your consciousness yet. You are going to go through a trial that questions your devotion to your human and physical attachments, whether they be your children, your mate, your spouse, your job, or what you consider to be your life. All right. And the larger your responsibility and your charge, as we spoke about last time, some people have a very high karmic charge on their life. The greater your trial will be, because the universe is based off of balance. So if you have high aspirations, high ambitions, a high charge, a high level of shaped and molded light that you were born with, then there's going to be a high level of transforming darkness that you're going to have to go through in order to maintain your balance for your particular mission. Okay? So infidelity with a spouse, male or female, is it's horrible. It's traumatizing, regardless of the reason as to why it happened. Okay, so we clearly see he's going through a trial, or has gone through a trial. Now, for me, you know, when you guys send me emails, or, you know, we speak through your readings or whatever, you know, I'm a decoder. I decrypt everything. So, and I'm sharing this letter with you, for those of you, again, you're going through spiritual training, going through level 3, you will be dealing and working with people. You know, level 3 is mainly focused on working with people, working with masses. And, you can't ignore things. I've been in so many environments with other, owls, and people are speaking to them and they're just not listening. You know, now, of course, we know the spiritual intuition. There's a lot of times when people speak, and I don't really need to hear the whole story, because my spirit already told me what's happening before we even began to dialogue. But as I've said many times, spiritual work is 80% psychological. You know, you have to understand psychology, because the answers may come quick, but you now have to figure out how do you deliver that answer in a way so that it's effective. Okay. When this person first spoke to me, I knew there was something wrong in terms of the fidelity piece, right? Or the contracts and the promises that were made. But it wasn't really time to say that. He had to work through what he was working through, and it was revealed to him anyway. So my position was much different. If you notice, one of the things that he said in the letter was, I have also undergone a sort of cleansing of my soul. That's key. A cleansing of my soul. He said that, you know, and then we'll get into the actual symbol. But one of the things he said is that the changes have helped him to grow stronger and a bit wiser. So obviously we know that these are lessons brought on by pain. Lessons brought on by pain are kind of you getting left back. And what I mean by that is this. Lessons always come in the form of love first. Well, I don't want to use the word love. Lessons always come in the form of signs and symbols first, which is a lighter way to learn something. And when we ignore them and we're allowed to go through the consequences of our choices, then sometimes those lessons we'll learn them through pain. But either way, you're going to learn your lesson. You're going to get it either way. Whether you get it through pain or you get it through wisdom, you're going to get it. Okay? So that's important when we think about some of our family members who are going through things, or even our own selves, when we feel really frustrated, you know, going through our training or our learning and our spiritual trials and courses. You're going to get it. Don't worry about it. You're going to get it. Now, you may get it through pain or you may get it through wisdom, but you're going to get it. All right. So never feel like anyone is damned to eternity of ignorance. No, it doesn't work. Evolution and higher consciousness does not work that way. Everyone's going to get it. All right. Now, unfortunately, this brother got it through pain. Okay. That was his lesson. So let's get through. Oh, before I get to the symbols, let's talk about when he said, I undergone a sort of cleansing of my soul. All right. Your personality has has certain aspects of what it expresses to be personality. Okay. Now what happens is that as your soul evolves, it releases aspects of the personality that it no longer needs for its evolution. Through our ego, through our desire to maintain things as they are, we hold on to aspects of certain aspects of our personality that we no longer need. This is a problem. What happens is when you hold on to aspects of your personality past the point that your soul has released them, then you create what we know to be wickedness. Okay. Now, if you've held on to those personality components and characteristics past the point of your physical death, then you become what we know to be as a destructive or harmful spirit. This is how these spirits are created, or what some people call wicked ghosts, or whatever term you want to use. I usually call them harmful energies, harmful spirits. This is how they come forth. It's a time when a person has held an aspect of themselves that they should no longer hold. And then what happens is that there's blockage within the soul. There's congestion, and that congestion creates an explosion, like a combustible explosion inside of the soul. Sometimes it happens before the person transitions and they become more and more wicked. And then we look at them, we say, wow, that's a tortured soul. A tortured soul. We could see it in their eyes because they're holding on to aspects of their personality that they should have let go. I see this so often with people who come to me for readings. And this is one of the reasons why I don't, we'll say in a sense, allow people to come to me too often. Because really, if you come to me for one reading, I give you so much that you'll have enough to work on for 8 to 9 months, if not longer. So a lot of times that question comes up, how often should I get a reading? I'm not a fortune teller. I don't work in a store with doing that. So I don't need you to come every week so I can get some money. I prefer for you to get what you're supposed to get and come back when you need to come back, when you truly need to come back. And for those of you who've worked with me, a lot of times I contact you after the reading anyway. That's why I collect email addresses and things, because a thought may come to me, an intuition, and I'll shoot you a quick message. But if you're working on the things that I give you and you're releasing the things that need to be released, then your soul can move forward. When you feel like you need a reading every month or every 3 months, and some people do need that. Let me just clarify that. Some people are in positions in life where they need consistent readings. That's understandable. If you're in a position where you have to constantly make critical decisions, like you're a politician, you're a judge, so forth and so on, which I have many in my client list, then they get more frequent readings, especially around election time. I have them at the shrine, every week almost. But that's a different story. So now the thing is, when you're not releasing those aspects of your soul, then you're not coming to that point of soul awareness, evolution, and enlightenment and revelation. So you create this internal pain, which now expresses itself through many different things. Bad relationships, issues on the job, issues with your children, health issues, so forth and so on, by not releasing and expressing that personality that you no longer need. For instance, we'll speak about anger for a second, because this is a tough one. A lot of times we hold on to anger, not just about situations, but an angry personality, longer than we need to actually have it. Anger teaches its own lesson. And then after you learn that lesson, that personality is supposed to be replaced with something else. But I can't tell you how many times I have people in front of me for readings and I speak to them about something and they tell me what type of person they are. As if I don't know. Or as if the aspects of what they're speaking about still need to be present. I'll say, well, you need to do such and such. This is what's being advised. Oh, well, I'm going to flip because the type person I am. Right. That's why your soul is going through this torment, because you won't release the aspects it no longer needs. Or some people are perpetually defensive, and they'll speak about how they needed to defend themselves as children from certain situations, but those situations are no longer present. But they still have taken on this persistent and consistent defensive position, and it actually shapes and perverts the chemistry inside of your body. Scientists have figured this out. People who live in hostile environments for an extended period of time, they actually begin to lose or create an overabundance of certain chemicals inside of their body, right? So even if you go into a peaceful atmosphere, you don't know how to function because you're so used to that environment. So what happens is usually you'll recreate that environment wherever you go. For instance, a person who grew up in a house where there was a lot of argument, I've seen this before, in sessions where there were children present, and, sometimes it might have been a counseling session I was doing, and the couple started yelling at each other, and this child is just sitting there playing like nothing's even going on. They've now become functional to a sense inside of an environment of dysfunction. So what happens is when that child grows up, they won't be able to survive in any environment that's peaceful. They'll have to create turmoil and havoc in order to survive. Okay. So this is an example of not letting go of the aspects of your personality that your soul no longer needs. You know, a lot of times, even when we transition, our spirit says, well, when I transition because spirit doesn't realize you're not coming back next time. You're going back into the ethers, but the soul is going to come back. Even we think that, you know, well, next time I'll do it this way. Next time there'll be no I. There'll be a soul, but Yuya, it's not even going to be here. So you'll want to hold on to certain things next time. Well, I learned to be this and I learned to be that way. I want that in my next incarnation. So what happens is those aspects that you wanted to hold on to, they go somewhere. They go into what we call the spirit realm. Some may even call them the angelic realm, but it's not even there. And they become spirits unto themselves. So if you are defensive and you're saying, well, I had to learn to defend myself, so forth and so on, then that energy, that spirit stays around. It becomes now a problem in your ancestral line because you didn't want to let it go. Okay. So it's very important for you to think about, for you to know. All right. And of course, when your soul incarnates next time, because for a person who's not letting things go, they need to let go, you're coming back to the planet. Sorry. You know, you're coming back. Now you're born again with situations, environment or personality that now has to repair that karma from last time. And the karma is you had this anger or whatever that you did not want to let go. So now your personality has to be shaped in a way where you're urged or inclined to let it go this time around. Maybe. All right. So the whole thing is about letting go, spiritual healing. And we get back to his symbol now. All right. He said, I've been seeing in visions lately about 2 crossed keys with handle facing up. And he said he researched and, St. Peter was signified and feels it means more. Now, first, let me say this. The best interpreter of your vision is you. Okay. So for those of you who will be working with people, who are even already working with people, let the person interpret it themselves first. I usually don't like to answer questions like this, to be honest with you, because, at least through an email, because my concern is always that you're going to take my interpretation before you take your own, and that's problematic. So, but I know this brother, he's a thinker, so he's not lazy. So I'm sure he did give it some thought. So I'm just going to put that out there. It's your subconscious speaking to you. It's not my subconscious speaking to you. So your subconscious is already aware of not only your academic process, so it knows what you're going to go look up, but it also is aware of the symbols, the signs and colors, shapes, so forth and so forth that you already know. So it's going to speak in that language. Okay. So, let's start here. And everyone can do this, because if you ever get this question again, or it comes up now, this is a symbol that you'll have, because this is something that came to me as I was reading his letter and I thought about it. So I'll show you sometimes how the subconscious works and how the spirit leads us to certain answers. Everyone take your hands and make the symbol of a peace sign, right? Okay. Make that peace sign. Now what I want you to do is take your palms with that same 2 peace signs in your air, like like how President Nixon used to do. All right. And then you're going to turn the inside of your palms towards you. All right. So it's like you're saying peace, like how kind of like Martin used to do. Right. So you're saying peace, but the back of your hands are facing outward and the inside are facing inward, the lighter part. Right. Now what I want you to do is to take those 2 peace signs and close them. Okay. So now it almost looks like, you're just pointing your 2 fingers. All right. And your thumb is holding your ring and your pinky. Right. Now what I want you to do is to take them and cross them. Okay. Make a cross, but you're going to cross them diagonally while they're still closed. Now look at it. It looks like 2 keys. Okay. The part where your palm is looks like the handle of the key, and your fingers outstretching look like the key, the key part, the stem of the key. Right. So what does that symbolize for you, Brother C? What that means is that you have to release and say peace to this situation. Okay. To these feelings that you have, not only towards your ex-lady, but towards women in general. Okay, that's what the two keys symbolizing. They symbolize you closing a door that you no longer need. You've graduated from that situation. You need to close the door. Now, if the keys were facing down, it would mean something different. It would speak about more, you have to really open the door to go through a transforming process. This one now is saying that you've learned your lesson. You don't need to stay longer. There's no more lesson to learn. So graduate yourself from that grade. Say peace to it. Now, when you spoke about, when you looked it up, you saw that St. Peter was mentioned. Yes, because Peter, before his name was changed to Peter by who we know to be Yeshua ben Pantera, who some people call Jesus Christ, his name was Simon. Now, the word Simon means shaky or unstable. Simon, okay? He was a fisherman, and it means shaky or unstable. When Yeshua changed his name to Peter, where we know comes from Ptah, also Petra, which means rock. And then he said, upon this rock, I will build my church. What he was doing was he was saying, you know what, Simon, you're still kind of a psychopath. Matter of fact, when the Roman guards come to arrest me, you're going to cut one of their ears off. So you're still a little, Looney Tunes. But I see what you will become. Okay, you may not see it in the physical now, who and what you are. You look in the mirror, you see, well, if they had mirrors back then, you see a psychopath. What I see is a rock. I see what you're going to become. So upon that rock of what you're going to be, I build my church. Okay, so those two keys, brother C, what that is symbolizing is what you will become. You've already closed the door spiritually. Your soul has already released that situation. Your soul has already released the aspects of your personality that led to that situation that you dealt with. And I know that's the tough one. Aspects of my personality that led to it. Yes, you incarnated on the planet as a male this time around, as a man. So based on that incarnation, you are the leader. Light leads, darkness cradles. Okay, so whatever energy, whatever spiritual projection coming from your solar chakra, that identity projection, remember the solar chakra, solar means sun. So as the sun projects, the earth conforms based on that projection. So whatever aspects of your personality that you were giving off, this is what went through the household. You may have been unfaithful or unloyal to your life mission. You may have been unfaithful or unloyal to your own sense of self-worth and self-value. So based on that energy spread throughout the home. Now, does it mean that her actions were not vile? Does it mean that her actions were not, destructive and harmful? No, it doesn't mean that. She has to be accountable in a karmic sense to what she has done and what she has caused. But you have to be accountable for your role as man. And your role as man says, I lead. There's a reason that some come as men, some come as women. And I know in this society, there's a move to unisexualize everyone. We're all doing the same thing. And that's why everything is so confused. Again, those upward keys or that cross. Now, of course, you should also be dealing with Baron Samedi because you're dealing with crossbones when you're looking at that. One of the keys, that I think about, type of keys, is the skeleton key. Skeleton, bone, cross, boom. Okay. He's a form of Eshu. Okay. Who not only opens up the doorway to opportunity, but also closes them. All right. But makes us also be accountable for our choices. The existence of all reality began with a choice. So that is our show. Make sure you come, register students. We have live Q&A this Sunday. And I am Yuya Assaan-ANU. Make sure you come over to SaduluHouse.com, sign up for your classes, get your readings, pick up a copy of Grasping the Root of Divine Power. And I want to give out a shout out to Mr. Furley from Three's Company, who had one of the baddest neckerchiefs ever. Peace.
Yo, bro, is this a train that's going uptown?
Yeah, mama. If you want to get down.
What you mean, get down?